Okay, welcome back to the next video. We're going to continue our look at Kubuntu 26.04 LTS, which has not been released yet as of this recording. And so we are still looking at developmental software. With that caveat in mind, or with that notice in mind, let's go ahead and continue. The first thing we're going to do is continue to look at this as a potential replacement for Windows 10 if you're coming from that. I did a previous playlist on Linux Mint, which is more for those that prefer the traditional Windows look, like those that want Windows 7 or that kind of thing. If you're very happy with Windows 10 or very happy with Windows 11, with how that looks, KDE Plasma 6 is probably the desktop environment, or DE, that would appeal to you more. We're just currently looking at the KDE Plasma 6 as it is installed on Ubuntu. They name it Kubuntu because it's Ubuntu, but it has the default of KDE. All right, so we were looking at earlier about these icons and things that are just showing up that looks pretty similar to the way Windows works. The same thing happens with the network here. You can go in and you can change things around. I'm not going to disconnect anything, but it shows a quick menu there. We're going to right click and configure, and that opens up the configuration settings, the system settings there. We can change our firewall, proxy, connection, that kind of thing. I'm going to go ahead and maximize this to open it all the way up. On here, this is a tabbed view. This is almost exactly the way Windows would work as far as the information itself. It might be organized a little differently, but you can see your MAC address, your connection speed, the device, the IP address that you currently have. You can go in here and set automatic, manual. You can disable the interface directly in here as well, just like you can on Windows. Again, it's the same information, but it might look a little different. So I'll go ahead and close that out. On the desktop, we can right-click, choose Desktop and Wallpaper, and we can go through and choose several of the wallpapers that actually come with Kubuntu. Let's pick one that's kind of cool looking. On here, I'm going to go maximize this too. On here, these that have like the dual panes, like the bright side and the dark side, and have this emblem on it, that just means that these wallpapers are compatible with night mode. So you can have a different luminosity during the day as you do during the night. A different one. Those that do not have that circle on there do not support that. Let's see here. I am going to, let's do this. Which one do I want to use? Unlike Windows, though, you can just select one and it will automatically change for you. Like this right here, it will automatically change for you in the background. In fact, I think I like that. We're going to keep that there. Mouse actions. I've never actually been in there. Location, desktop folder, icons. So we're going to go ahead and choose OK. Wait a second. Oh, I inadvertently did something that you should be aware of with KDE. Let's try that again. So we're going to choose a wallpaper. Which one did I choose? That was this one here. Okay, as soon as I clicked on mouse actions, that went away. That's because I did not save my changes. So let me do that again. Nexus, and you have to click apply or OK, and then it will change. It'll stay there. If you don't save your changes, it will lose them. And the same thing is true inside your system settings here as well. Also, like with Windows, you can type in your search box down here. Like if I did system, it will show me everything that has the term SYS in it, and you can choose your system monitor, system settings. This is no different than how Windows does it. Or you can go through the menu itself directly. Your power options are also these bottom three buttons here. One thing that you should notice is there is no web browser installed. And that is because when we installed in the last video, we chose the minimum installation. And we did that on purpose because if you remember, I said that the normal and the full is going to come feature packed. It's going to have everything in it already. Where with the minimal, you can start with a very sane basic base model here and then add what you want after that. What the advantages of that is it keeps your disk space lower, so you don't have to cram up a whole bunch of stuff in your hard drive that you don't use. Also at the same time, if you don't use those items, there's no need to have them installed. So this prevents you from having to, like, say, do a full installation and then ripping half of it out because you don't use it. That's a valid reason for starting minimal and moving up from there. What we're going to do, though, here, another thing that I'm just going to briefly touch on with the minimum installation, but I'm not going to get into because it can very easily go down a conspiracy rabbit hole. And that is with the minimum installation, snaps are not included. Not everybody likes snaps. And one of the main points of contention with Ubuntu is that they're very snap heavy. So if you want to use Kubuntu, but you don't want to use snaps, start with the minimum, and then you can go through and you can hold snapd, and that will prevent snaps from being installed. And I'll show you how to do that real quick. I'm going to maximize this. Can we make that bigger? We can make that bigger. Okay, so to hold a package, it's sudo apt hold, I think. Apt mark hold snapd. Then you have to put in your password, and now it's on hold. So that means if you try to install anything that requires snapd, it will automatically fail, telling you that there's a package marked as held, and it will refuse to install anything. If you don't care about snaps and you go ahead and use them, you don't have any opinion of them, basically you can, I think it's unhold. It is unhold, yeah. So it's unhold and then snapd. There we go. So that hold was now canceled, and now you can install anything to do with snaps. But just remember that snaps are not currently installed. So let's go ahead and get Firefox put in here. Firefox is actually a package that does require snaps. At that point, if you did not want to use snaps, you would have to go and add Firefox with the official Mozilla repository and install it that way, which is outside the scope of this video. So we're just going to go ahead and install it normal like. And if you notice, the very first thing that it pulls in is snapd. That's fine. We'll go ahead and run that. Again, I've said in other videos, there's nothing technically wrong with snaps. It's really much just a personal preference. Things like snaps, Flatpaks, and app images, they're basically just self-contained applications. And they're designed to have everything that's required to run that application included in the package, whether it's the app image package, the Flatpak, or the snaps. So to be completely fair, there are technological differences between snaps, Flatpaks, and app images. Again, that's not something we're going to go into, but it's something worth investigating. Not all of these packages are equal. Some people prefer Flatpaks, some people prefer snaps, some people prefer app images. Some people, like myself, who are more purist or more minimalist, don't like any of those. I prefer to use packages that come with the distribution. I don't normally add third-party software to my Linux. And so that is where my reservation with snaps, Flatpaks, and app images come in. So I don't like any of them. But that doesn't mean that you have to follow suit. You might fall in love with all three of them or one of them. You might like snaps and hate Flatpaks, or vice versa, that kind of thing. So it's up to you to decide what you want. All right. And then that is about as preachy as I'm going to get. All right, so now we go in here. Where did it go? It should be there. Where did Firefox go? Where did it go? Apt install sudo apt install Firefox. Huh. It's not there. Let's reboot and see if that fixes this. I do apologize for that. I said I don't actually normally use Ubuntu. That's also personal preference. I actually prefer to use Debian as my favorite. I do also sometimes use Fedora, especially if I'm going to do quite a bit of gaming. In my experience, Fedora is a bit better at gaming than Debian is. Debian does require more setup. In fact, I've got a 10-part playlist that you're more than welcome to watch on Debian. And all the other ones that are like on Fedora or Linux Mint or what have you are much shorter. Okay, let's get our password put in here. And it's showing me out of range again. I'm wondering if the display settings got changed. Okay, it detected a new display. And that out of range went away. Okay, so it didn't actually change anything. I guess it just felt like complaining. Again, might sound like a broken record, but again, this is a development software. This is not a fully polished released version of Kubuntu. We still have a few weeks, so they still have some things to change. They still have some things to catch up on. So oddities and weirdness like that is expected. There's my Firefox. So apparently a reboot fixed something. And that gives you a web browser. You can also, if you are in the anti-snap fan base, you can always install Conqueror and then go download your favorite web browser, whether it's Firefox from Mozilla, from their own repo, whether you want to use Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, any of them, Brave, whatever you prefer to use. You can do that even without the snaps. I can say, though, that even without snaps, the longer you use Ubuntu, the more likely you are to run into roadblocks where snaps are required. Firefox just happens to be just one example of many. Okay, so with that said, it looks like our wallpaper is stuck. Standard menus there. Let's look at our hard drive usage. Let's go... I know what I'm looking for. Can't remember the name of it. It might not be installed. I don't think it's installed. Anyway, the quick way to do it is open a terminal. I'll maximize this real quick. And that is a df-h. And hit enter. It's going to give you everything that's in here. So now that Snaps is in place, we have... it doesn't. It used to mount something for Snaps in here. So this is the line we're looking for here. And we're using 8.7 gigs out of the 400. It's a 500 gig drive. So we're only using 3% of our drive. And I invite you to create a video. I'm talking to Windows users. You know which ones I'm talking about. I invite you to make a video of a clean install of Windows 10 or Windows 11 that uses less disk space out of the box. It's a challenge. Anyway, so yeah, that's going to probably do it for this video here. I did want to show you how to do that. And of course, since this is a minimal install, you might find that there's other things that you need to install as well. Like, for example, GParted. It's not going to come into play. Let's go ahead and open Discover. It's fetching updates. Discover is actually your software center. If you've ever used any other distribution, there's some kind of software center involved. Discover just happens to be the one that comes with KDE Plasma. They all basically work the same way. So if I want to install VLC, I'd choose it and click install, just like the GNOME software store or any other software store. Password, and it's installing, and then it will be installed. Okay. What I'm looking for though is GParted. Install from Ubuntu. While that's installing, we can go up here and we can, in multimedia, we can see the VLC is now there. System GParted. Yep, system and GParted is now there too. Another application I use is Disk Utility, which isn't here. This was actually made for the GNOME desktop or GNOME-based desktops, but it will still work on Qt-based desktops as well. And I just like this better than I do any other solution. What disks will do is so here's my main drive, the C drive, and it's showing the different partitions. I can resize the partition, I can add another one, that kind of thing. But another thing I'll do with this is I actually create bootable USBs with it. Give me just a second here. So I'm going to throw my Kubuntu USB drive back in here. And it found it here. Now I can download a different ISO. I can do Fedora or I can do Mint or whatever. And then I just click these three dots, choose restore disk image, tell it which ISO file that I want to write to the disk, and it writes it for me. So I can create bootable thumb disks in here. That's probably the biggest reason I use this here. This is not in any way the only application to do this with. It just happens to be my favorite. All right, so again, as that goes, there's removable drives that are in there now. I can take those out. Actually, let me put it back in. It should automatically detect it right there. And if I want to mount a drive, let's say I installed or I plugged in a portable USB hard drive, I can go in here and click mount and open, and it will mount it for me and open it for me. Okay, for now that's going to be it. In the next video, we will talk about some more things that are with Kubuntu, not necessarily with 24, or with KDE, not necessarily with Kubuntu, and definitely not necessarily to 26.04. But anyway, we will see you next time.